Coming up next on Access Framingham TV is Framingham Fan to Fan, where we discuss all things sports in Framingham. Today we'll talk field hockey with guests Ellen Sowa, the head coach at Framingham High School, Bella Stanizzi, a left winger, and Cameron Adler, a goalie. Stay tuned. You're going to love it. Hi, I'm Dave Hornfischer, a Framingham sports fan, and I'm pleased to host this interview show whose purpose is to highlight those who are involved in Framingham sports at all levels. We call it Framingham Fan to Fan. In doing this show, we hope to increase awareness and ideally fan support of these fun sporting events, and also to help sports achieve our station's community goal of building community. Today, I'm pleased to welcome Ellen Sowa, the head coach of the Framingham Field Hockey team, Bella Stanizzi, a left winger, a senior on the team, and Cameron Adler, a senior goalie on the team. Welcome to AFTV and Framingham Fan to Fan.
Thank you.
Well, field hockey is a subject that is a bit of a new one to me. And in all honesty, I had to make an edit in my script. I had to cross off the word women's because, as you'll notice, one of the field hockey players today is not a woman. In fact, he's a very athletic young man who happens to be a goalie on the team. And I understand there's another boy on the team too.
Yes.
And Ellen, why don't you begin by just talking a little bit about your background and how you became the head coach of Framingham Field Hockey.
Okay, well, when I first got to Framingham, I was the JV coach, and then I decided to go to volleyball for 2 years. I wasn't sure whether the varsity coach was going to be there for quite a while, and then she ended up leaving to go to another school because she was an elementary teacher, and it's hard to, you know, they get out later, so it was hard for her to be there. So I applied and I got the job, and it's been 21 years.
Really?
Yes.
That's impressive, and well, you must have had some success for them to keep you there that long.
I'd like to think so, yes.
And you've got a team of, how large is a field hockey team? How many players?
This year I have 19. 19,
okay.
In other years I had up to 22. But it makes it tough when you have a large bench.
And for those of us who don't know a lot about field hockey, 11 are on the field at a time, right? Just like in football and soccer.
Correct.
Okay. And Bella, how did you happen to become a field hockey player at Framingham State? Maybe I should say star.
So before I got into high school, I played soccer for the town. And then my friend that played for the high school introduced me to the sport, and I got really interested into it. So I tried out freshman year, and I decided to stick with it throughout high school.
Some of the skills in soccer kind of carry over well to field hockey. I mean, you have to have a lot of stamina.
Yeah, so they're both very fast sports. Field hockey, I would say, I enjoyed it more. The team-wise, it was, I would say, less competitive throughout, because soccer, it's it's more difficult, I would say. Field hockey is difficult too, but yeah.
Okay.
I'm choking
all right.
up.
Yes. No. Okay. No. I understand the differences are subtle for sure. And Cameron, how does one of the boys end up on the field hockey team now? Why don't you start by that? But tell me a little bit about your background first of all. You played soccer or?
Yeah, I was in the youth soccer program for a long time. I played goalie, and I just kind of played around there. I actually played for the freshman team for soccer. Stopped.
So you've been sort of a goalie-minded person all your life.
Yeah, I've kind of played around with the goalies.
You were sort of getting ready for a career as a public defender, huh? Yeah. And so you were before the show. You and the coach were telling me a little bit about how you happened to become a member of this team. Yeah. I want to just share some of that story.
Yeah, it was in gym class. We decided to play street hockey. I personally wanted to play it a lot, and I like playing goalie. That's my position I usually do when I play street hockey. And so I decided, I put on the pads, and during class, so asked me, and she's like, "Hey, come after school to our meeting." And I was kind of bewildered. I was really confused. I was like, "Really? You want me to come to the field hockey meeting?" She's like, "Yeah." It's like, okay. So I went down, I just checked it out, and I was kind of confused at first, but like a lot of the girls were like, yeah, you should really try out, like you should really come, like you'll be a big part of the team and it'll be really helpful. I was like, you know, like sure, like why not? And I put a lot of thought through it throughout the summer, and now I'm here. So. And
you're not the only boy on the team.
No, I'm not.
And you were telling me before you've had boys for quite a few years, and I gather that's legal because Framingham doesn't have a men's. You call these sports boys or men's in high school? I always get confused now. Is that it's either way is okay. But you don't have a boys field hockey team.
No, there are none.
And so that makes it legal for guys like Cameron to play on the team. And some of your opponents have some boys too, I would imagine.
Yeah, one.
Yeah, a mix
two.
here and there. Yeah. Okay, well, let's talk a little bit about field hockey. As I said, it's not a sport that I don't know a lot about, but I understand it started back in ancient times. It's not something that was just dreamed up here for ESPN.
Yeah, I think it goes back to the Greek.
I think we had a picture, yeah, right there of the Greeks. I mean, the sticks look very similar to what we're having here, and that's clearly not a hockey puck and not a lot of equipment, but. Not even sure they have any. Is that a loincloth? I think it might be.
Yes.
But anyway, so what I know you did a little research and you were telling me that you figured that learned that it went beyond this then. So field hockey, the evolution of it.
Oh, yes. I guess it came over from England, I think in the 1920s. Constance Appleby, I believe was her name.
Okay.
She brought it over to Wellesley College, Bryn Mawr, Mount Holyoke, and one other one. I can't quite remember the name of it, but that was kind of the evolution of bringing it over here. And it's also, it's more popular for men over in Europe and Asia, but it's more for women over here. And it's a very popular sport, specifically in private girls' schools. And
so you've been coaching it for 20 years. So Framingham must have had a program for quite a while now at Framingham High.
Oh yes, yeah, they definitely had it way before I was there.
We have a stick here and a ball, and this ball, when I pick it up, is certainly harder than a baseball. I certainly wouldn't want to get hit by this. I mean, I've already got hit by the stick. I mean, that's probably a penalty. But so I mean, if I were to throw this at somebody, you'd have to duck. I mean, I mean, listen. This is not for the faint of heart. And these sticks here. It's not quite a hockey stick. I mean, you can. How do you grip it? How do you grip the stick? So do you grip it like a golf club, or with a wide grip?
One hit you can do that's a drive, so you would hit it like a golf club. Most you dribble like this. You can only use the flat side of the stick. So you basically hold the stick like this.
So to hold that like that, you have to bend down a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And so this has to be rather tough on your back by the end of the day.
Yeah, and I have scoliosis too.
Really?
So, yeah,
oh, no.
And I still manage to play.
Yeah, and from the goalie, having that ball coming flying at you, I think in one of the pictures we have a picture of one of the goalies standing in line. You have a lot of equipment.
Yeah, there's a lot of protection for us.
And so the pads are about that wide? And
yeah, they're pretty, I'd say about on my leg, they probably go about there.
Oh yeah, there's a picture of the orange pads, and you're the guy in blue.
Yeah.
I assume number 50, right?
They're pretty big.
Yeah, that's a really cool looking outfit. That would make a great Halloween costume.
Yeah, I stand out.
Yeah, you certainly know. I mean, I had women's, I had volleyball on, and they have the libero who wears a different color shirt, and so so this is another example of people wearing different color shirts in sports. I'm going to start making a list of those, I think. But so when you're playing goalie, let's just kind of get into the moment of a game itself. And you know, is there when a field hockey game starts, is there a center drop like in basketball or something, or does one team start with it, or
one team gets possession?
So
they do the coin flip. And
do they start deep in their own end?
No, right in the middle.
Starts in the middle, and there's a center. And so the 11 players are...
There's 10 field and one.
There's 10 fielders, but the field hockers, you told me you're a left wing. Are there more than one left wingers, or one left wing, one right wing?
Yep, you can play 4 in the front. You can play 3. Then we have midfielders. Okay. And then we have our backs, and then we have a sweeper.
Okay. And a sweeper, that's an interesting title. What does a sweeper do?
Sweep everything out.
Cleans it out before the goalie.
Yeah. That's right.
He's sort of like a safety in football.
Yes.
He's the he has to be she has to be your best friend, right?
Yeah.
Because if it's by her, it's you that's the last chance. Okay, so the ball gets dropped and it goes whacked up, and now you as a left wing probably grab it, and you're going to start, or you're take it with your stick, and you can't touch it with your hands, right?
No, you cannot.
Oh, okay. So you're going to about to. Do you tap it, or do you take a big swing at it normally?
We want to get the ball to the right side most of the time, but we have to draw the defenders. So we would have to dribble, and then probably do a back. I forget what it's called.
Pull back.
Oh no, pull back.
Pull back.
Okay.
Pull back. So I'd pull right. So I would hopefully trick the defender, and then I would go right.
Okay.
And then I would head to post. And so hopefully I could tip it and get
So
a
it's
goal.
sort of like a give and go in basketball, kind of, if you know basketball.
Kind of, yeah.
Well, okay. So you hit there, and then you run forward, and that person's supposed to pass it back to you if they can. And so passing is probably quite an art.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We like to have triangle passing, so give and goes. So you always want to have an option forward, back to the sides. And the reason why she said you want to go right is because everybody plays right-handed
Sure.
in the sport. So it makes it easy to know you got to go to the right because that's their non-stick side. But of course, as you get up in levels, they can use their reverse stick where she'd flip the stick.
So I can buy a left-handed stick though?
Nope.
No.
There's only right.
So if I'm left-handed, this is a tough game for me.
Yeah. I have several
Yeah.
lefties that had to switch over.
Oh,
to be
okay,
righty.
but you can't hit the ball with the opposite side of the stick?
No, you can hit it flat side and you can hit it right here.
Okay.
And then she has to flip it over.
And what happens if you hit it on the other one? Is that a penalty?
Yeah, we
Did
get a
they
whistle.
stop the play?
Yeah.
They get a whistle, and the other team takes possession and goes the other
Yes,
way
sir.
with it. And there seemed to be a bunch of penalties in the match that I saw. So what are some of the reasons for a penalty?
You can't kick the ball. They'll give you an advantage. So if I were to kick it and my teammate got it, the whistle would blow. It would be the other team's. But if I were to kick it and the other team clearly got possession, it would be nothing. It would because I lost the advantage.
Okay.
You can't smack the ball. Like if the ball is raised up, you have to guide it down.
You can't bring your stick above your waist?
You can't bat
hit
it.
the ball up here. Yeah.
I mean, you can guide it down, but you can't like whack
you can
it.
knock it down.
Yeah, you never used to
okay.
be able to do that. Now
all right. Yeah.
they call you,
Okay.
dangerous. But you can do that now. Obstruction is the big one that most people don't understand. It's like the one sport that you can't use your body to protect the ball. The ball always has to be moving, and so do you.
So you can't just stand there and block it with your back when it comes at you?
Nope.
Which, even though it would hurt, but...
No, I'm
yeah.
saying if it's on the ground, you can't. You have to have the ball moving at all times.
Oh, okay.
So I can't just turn my back to you and
Yeah.
Oh, all right, and kind of freeze it, as they
right.
say in
And my
basketball.
teammate can't cut in between myself if I have the ball and you as the defender. They call that third-party obstruction.
That's like a pick play in some of the other sports, yeah. Okay, so yeah, so the rules, and then as a goalie, then there must be some kind of special rules that you can't do, too.
I kind of went with how the game was going, and I kind of figured it out on my own. But I kind of stay in mostly the red semicircle on our side of the field, and that's kind of where I stay for most of the game. And basically, I just can't kick the ball up higher than players' faces. Otherwise, that's a dangerous play.
You can't kick it with your pad?
No, so if I kick the ball in the air and it goes above their faces, that's a penalty.
Okay, that's sort of like knocking a hockey puck out of the...
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And you can't catch the ball, I think.
No, I have two blockers, one blocker which helps me hold my stick, and this kind of like a reverse hockey pad on my left hand.
I think we have a couple action shots, videos here that of a match that you had against Brookline, and I have to admit that was probably the first field hockey game that I deliberately went to on my own. And I was saying that shortly thereafter I happened to be watching TV one afternoon, and there was Boston College playing Duke in a major semifinal for the ACC championship, and I was impressed. I mean, as a sports fan and a person who likes to watch action sports, I mean, hockey and soccer and. This kind of fit right into the same way. Although I just had a feeling that I wish they made that stick a little easier for you to hit the ball harder. That just looked awfully hard.
You get the hang of it.
We get the hang of it. Do you think we can get one of those? Yeah, here we go. Oh, okay, now this is one of the boys on there. That's David. And he sets the ball in here. There's a couple of. So describe what's happening here.
Passes it over.
He passes
David's
it
there
in.
for
He's
the
right
rebound.
in front for the rebound, and there it is. And there's the goalie. And so what do we think the goalie did wrong on that? Do we blame anybody in this world anymore?
I mean, her defense didn't really help her out there by sweeping it out, but personally, I would have stretched out a pad. I kind of have like a soccer goalie instinct in the way where I just kind of like stick a leg out or anything just to kind of help just get it off the line. So personally for me, I would have just stuck out a pad and just kind of would have helped just kind of sweep it out.
Sure, oh, okay, and then just pushed it out with your pad, and hope you didn't push it to somebody on the other team.
Yeah, he goes down on the ground a lot. He's made some amazing saves, amazing.
I think we have another video of some kind of some action that's kind of happening in the middle of the field coming up here, where here you get a better sense of the breadth of the field, and that's a right wing coming in, and the defense does the job here. And she throws it out of bounds. Now after she threw it out of bounds, then your team would get to play in from the side.
Yes.
And do you tap it in, or do you have a set play for something like that?
No, we just make sure people cut. You all have to be 5 yards away, or you get a warning, and then the second time you'll have to sit out for 2 minutes. You get a card, and you play one short. But we usually have the people cutting, and you can either start dribbling or you can hit it.
So what's a typical practice like? What are some of the things that you have to practice? Now, if 2 or 3 of us came down to the team, what would separate her from being on the team versus me? I mean, what would she have to do better than what I could do?
A lot of ball control, stick work, a lot of endurance. We'll find out next Monday. We're having our faculty student game. I'll need an oxygen tank, I think, for that.
That sounds unfair.
We cheat.
Push, catch, yeah.
But definitely, that you have to have a lot of stamina, endurance, the stick work. You work on your drives. We have reverse sweeps, flicks, a whole host of things. Knowing positioning, where to be when you don't have the ball. That's I think one of the hardest things is knowing where to go when you don't have it.
So is there youth training for this? I mean, football and soccer and baseball all have well-organized youth programs. I've never heard of a youth program for 4-year-olds to start to learn to do this.
Some towns unfortunately do have that. Fortunately, unfortunately for us, we don't.
So is that a plea to the rec department in Framingham, or to some group of people who are her alumni who are looking for things to do, is to start a youth program? And,
I've tried to do it in the past with JV coaches, and you'd get 10 kids here, then the next week there might be 5, and I would schedule it so 2 of the varsity kids would have to stay after a practice. And this was years ago when we used to play on King Field, and we'd stay for like an hour, and we'd all play, and they'd learn some skills, and it got them ready to come up. But there was no organized team, but there definitely are teams out there that
of course,
that.
Soccer and youth hockey are all sort of good training for this a little bit. I mean, you talked about your goalie experience, and I suppose if you weren't a great skater in ice hockey, you might evolve into a field hockey player if you like stick work and running, and you were athletic. So the Framingham team you mentioned made the playoffs this year.
Yes.
And you had a chance to play a really quality program. It was you were rated what? There were
14, I believe.
14 team. You were rated 14th, and in order to get into the playoffs, you just had to win more than you lost. Was that the rule?
Yeah, 500 or be first or second in your division.
And so that's probably at the start of the year when you get your team together. You have a few goals. Would you say what might some of those be?
Well, definitely to make the tournament.
Make the tournament.
That's one of them.
And you're in a conference. You're in the Kerry conference, right? So is that a goal to try and win the conference as well?
Oh yes, always.
And is Framingham competitive in the Kerry?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are. Needham's always our big nemesis. They have the
youth program. Oh, what a surprise!
Yeah.
When do you have rivals that you sort of feel when you play against? You've been seniors now. You've played some of these schools 3 or 4 times, and does any one school feel like a bigger game to you? Or?
I would say Natick is always going to be one of our rivals.
Natick.
Personally, Weymouth is one of my rivals. Due to past games, We've always had very close games, and we always try to beat them. This year we beat them twice, I believe, and it was a really good feeling.
Yeah, that's fun when you have a competitive match with a group. Yeah. What about you, Cameron?
I felt like my biggest game against the rival was definitely Norwood. The way that they were playing just kind of irritated me a little bit. So just the way to be able to beat them really just.
The irritation factor. That's there you go. Yeah, all you have to have is one of those games, and forever that's the team. Tell me about. Why don't you both tell me a little bit about one moment that you kind of remember from either this year or one of your years of playing field hockey that you felt was, I don't know, was just it was exciting to you. It meant something. It's something you're going to tell your grandchildren about someday when they say, "You played field hockey?" Well, let me tell you.
So playing Norwood was a really good game. We won, and we never won against them. I think there was a big thing in the paper. It was like 40 years, or yeah. And we won. It was probably the best feeling. We were all so happy, full of adrenaline and excitement, and we were like that feeling. We all came together that day, and the team came closer that day.
What was that, early in the year?
That was. It wasn't. I think it was in the middle of the season.
That's a great time for something like that. And then after that, you won all your games.
Most of them.
But teams do have a sense of that. There is always a moment. Even on the professional teams, you can usually identify in the Red Sox season one or two games when all of a sudden something happened. And what about you, Cameron?
I'd have to agree. Norwood was a really big game. But I personally have to say, definitely the games against Newton South for me were like where a big moment. Noticing that there was also other guys and other towns that played was like a very big moment. Noticing like, oh, we're not the only town. Like we're just not that different.
Right.
But it also kind of like playing against Newton South was just a different feeling for me. Like I know people go to the school, so it was just a rivalry for me, just to kind of be like, yeah, I beat your school.
Yeah. And this is a sport, though, in which I think both boys and girls at high school ages can compete fairly. Do you want to talk about that, Ellen, a little bit? Am I right in that, or is that?
Well, I think I hate to say it, but I think it is a fact. The boys are faster and stronger, which I think can be a definite advantage for them, just because the muscles and
physical body.
The physical bodies, and I mean they can hit the ball. I mean, not to say that the girls can't, but I mean just physically.
Right, but it struck me that there's an element of finesse and an element of teamwork, and I know when I watch women's basketball versus men's basketball, I mean it's a different game, but the passing is always much sharper, and some of the technique, even the free throw shooting, if you look at the percentages, is always better in women's basketball, and I think some of those skills would probably come into play here. I mean, what about next year? You're both going on you're thinking about going on to college. Tell me a little bit about your education plans, and since this is a show for students.
So I do want to go to college. I do want to major in athletic training. I think that's due to the fact our athletic trainers did play a big role for us, and we've had many athletic trainers since I've been at that school, and it just seems like a cool job. I think I really enjoy it.
Yeah, definitely want to go off to college. Think about majoring in marketing and advertisement. It's just something that's always caught my interest since I was little. Just being able to have someone buy something that's yours, it was just always very interesting to me. But yeah, definitely planning on going to college.
Would you both plan on hoping to play field hockey in college?
I've thought about it.
Yeah, there's thought, but I mean, in college it's majority women, and they don't usually want to pull the Title IX card because it's a lot of work for them. But
right, I understand. Yeah. So might you play another sport, or maybe just intramurals even, and just build on this experience?
Yeah, I'll probably play intramurals, field hockey if I can get a set of pads going. But I'll probably just play around the sports there.
That'd be fun. And what about the Framingham High team next year? You're losing these two seniors, and we had a picture before that had all the other seniors that you're losing, and there seemed to be a tearful moment there a little bit of kind of a final moment together period. And,
we had six seniors this year, and we have a ton of people coming back. We had a big core of sophomores on the team last year, so they're juniors this year, and I think we have 4 sophomores on the team this year, so you know, they'll be taking the junior spot, and then we'll have a big graduating class of seniors next year.
So I should definitely go and try and find the Norwood or the Needham game up at, and you play on this great field up behind the high school. It's field hockey isn't played on a field anymore. It's actually.
Thank God.
That would be awful. I mean, like my lawn. I mean.
Oh yeah. Well, you don't realize how small the ball is until you get on grass that is.
Yeah. So you have this lovely turf field.
Yeah. Brand new this summer.
Oh really?
Yes.
Oh okay. Do other sports use that too? So.
Football practices on it, and lacrosse plays on it.
Yeah. So do both of you play other sports? Did I ask you that? Maybe.
I think you did. But
you played soccer and before, but not. Oh, you were telling me about lacrosse.
No.
No. You were the lacrosse person.
I played softball freshman year.
Okay.
And then that was it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've played soccer for a long time. I still play it recreational. Right. And last year, Ultimate Frisbee team was struck up for the high school, so I decided to join that, and we kind of took off. So.
Ultimate Frisbee is a cool game.
Yeah. Very fast, a lot of running. Right,
and again, good similar skill set. So you all, we're all, the last couple of minutes that we have here, we're all sports fans. Well, a lot of us are anyway. My wife sometimes threatens me with that statement, but well, and I've even convinced her. She's actually a good fan. But so tell, you all are we all Patriots fans here? We don't have any born New Yorkers here. I had one born New Yorker on the show one time. But,
Patriots.
Patriots, yeah. So what kind of lessons are there that you take over from the Patriots into your coaching? Are there any? I think.
Do your job.
Do your job. Yeah, right. I heard somebody. I think Coach Manti mentioned, or was it Paul Spear, saying "be in the moment" was one of the Belichick, one of those kind of things, and that's hard after you make a mistake. I think to stay in the moment. I know I've always felt that. You sit there like that for a second. The next thing you know, you've made two mistakes. So what about the Red Sox? Do we have any Red Sox fans here?
Oh, yeah.
Patriots and Bruins, too?
Yeah,
definitely.
I mean,
Bruins.
Celtics, I meant.
Yeah.
The Celtics are doing great this year.
Yes.
So I think field hockey people would have an affinity for the Bruins. That's probably, probably a
especially when it's playoff time.
Especially when it's playoff time, right? Yeah, playoff hockey is so different.
Yeah, very different.
Yeah. Well, that's like when you guys play Norwood. You play your A game, right?
Yeah.
I think that's something sports teaches you, though, that we do have an A game sometime, and you have to know that when you can pull that out and use it.
Yep.
Well, we're quickly running out of time here, but I've really enjoyed this conversation. You've certainly taught me a lot more about field hockey, and I'm going to try and so your season next year starts when? So I can be in September?
We start early
right
September.
After,
right after Labor Day.
And you go right up pretty much up till November, I guess, with playoffs.
End of last weekend of October.
And your games are in the afternoon, about 3 or 4 o'clock?
3:45.
3:45 up behind Framingham High School. Parking is free.
Yes.
Tickets are reasonably priced. They even had a snack center, I noticed the day I was there. So there's no reason there for you sports fans in Framingham not to come out and watch some field hockey next year. And you will definitely get me back there again, probably on a sunny. Do you play in the rain, or do you get rain? Oh, you do?
Sadly.
Yeah, sadly. Oh, I understand. Okay, well, thank you so much. This has been terrific. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ellen. Thank you, Bella. Thank you, Cam. You guys have been great guests. This was a real fun episode. And this is going to be a wrap for Access Framingham today, for Framingham Fan to Fan. I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you'll come back and watch us again when we're on. And in the meantime, keep watching AFTV and keep playing sports. Bye.